Last day, Sayadaw expounded the 6 kinds of the obstacles to the concentration and their remedies or antidote. So as long as samadhi concentration is interfered with these obstacles, there will be no chance for insight and wisdom to take place. Just like the moon in the sky, if it is covered up with the mist or fog or the smoke, it cannot be bright, cannot be shining in the sky, and also it cannot serve its purpose. So in the same way, when our concentration is covered up with these hindrances, then it cannot be bright, it cannot be shining, and also cannot help us to see, to gain the wisdom. So that's why, to overcome these obstacles or hindrances, so first of all we need to learn what they are and how to overcome, or what's antidotes or remedies. So it is very good to learn them in advance, beforehand, and so that we can prevent the obstacles or the hindrances, or we can cure when they take place. And then we can develop insight knowledge step by step. So that's why it's very important to know, to learn the 6 kinds of the obstacles and their remedies and antidotes. So Sayadaw would like to explain them one by one in detail. So the first obstacles and its remedy is in the Pali said Ati Dhawana Chaita Vaikipa Nupatita. So that means thinking of the past events or past experiences, your mind becomes scattered and wanders away. It's just like a stone which is thrown to the distance. The mind is as if it is thrown to far away. The mind wanders away. So it also can be compared with someone who is put into a jail. So the mind is put into the narrow place, and so it cannot be bright. So that's the obstacle or the first obstacle of the concentration. The remedy is to draw back your attention to the meditative object, or to redirect your mind to the suitable or wholesome object. Then the mind will no longer go to the past, and it will be settled down on a present object. That's the remedy. So here the past object, or the past means the event or experience. So from very immediate event or experience until the very far and remote event and experience. They are mostly connected with our senses. So something or someone we have ever met, or we have ever seen, or heard, or smelled, taste, or touch. Or these sensory objects we had experienced in the past, they come to our mind. So if we follow, if we go after those objects or events or experiences, our mind definitely wanders away. So that's a great obstacle to the concentration. So there is a Vipassana formula, all we need to do in Vipassana practice is just to observe, or just to be mindful whatever occurs to us. Starting from rising, falling, or the abdomen, every activities, mental or physical activities, of Vipassana meditative objects. So we must focus our mind on them from moment to moment. But very often the thought of past experiences or past events interfere with our concentration. For last day, or for last month, or last year, we met or we saw somebody or something, or we enjoyed something, and we had some experiences. Then our mind may tend to go back to those past objects, past sense objects. Their mind scatters and wanders away. Especially those who really enjoy the dreaming, they waste their time daydreaming, just like a cow and a moose who love to chew in the food they had already ate. So regarding meditation practice, sometimes we analyze or examine our process of meditation. Sometimes we think about the last report, last interview with the teacher and his remarks the teacher makes last time. So in this way our mind wanders away, scattered. And sometimes also we think about the objects, meditative object we note, whether we were able to experience the true phenomena, or what we really experienced last time is mental phenomena or physical phenomena. So we thinking that way about the past experience regarding the practice. So this is the thought of the past, which is the obstacle or the concentration. So this is of course the great obstacle to the concentration. So all we can do is to observe it and then focus our mind on the present object. That's a remedy to that problem. So all we need to do is to observe the present object, which are newly arising from moment to moment. That's the meditative object or the Vipassana domain. So the point is in Pali text said Buddha Passati. Here Buddha means refer to the mind and body, which are newly arising from moment to moment, according to the conditions. So they are mind and body, they are arising from moment to moment under the conditions. So that type of physical or mental phenomena are called Buddha. So Buddha means what really exists or what we can directly experience. So Buddha Passati. So we have to see the Buddha as Buddha. That means we have to see them as they really are. We have to see mind and body as mind and body. And also we can see their causality, conditionality, and impermanence, and sufferance, and out of our control. So we have to cultivate concentration, focusing our mind on those mental and physical phenomena from moment to moment. So that concentration is established on an object which is newly arising from moment to moment. That's why such a concentration is called temporary or momentary concentration. That concentration which is established on the moment-to-moment objects, that's why it's called momentary concentration. So if you miss an object, one object, then you miss the chance to develop the concentration at that moment. So if you miss two objects, then you miss two concentrations. Three objects, three concentration. Many objects, many concentration. For 1 minute, so you miss many objects and you miss many concentration. Then there will be big gap between the mind and objects. So every moment, the great loss for you. So thinking of the past or past events and experience is simply wasting precious time. So when you are able to appreciate the value of the temporary or momentary concentration, so you will be able to make great effort in the practice. Observing the present objects which are arising from moment to moment, and you can establish the concentration. Unless you appreciate the value of the concentration, momentary concentration, you won't try, you won't hard work enough to arouse the concentration. You may have been practicing 2 months or 3 months without making any progress. It's sometimes because of you have no appreciation of the moment-to-moment concentration. Sometimes you may underestimate the observation of rising falling. Every time I note rising falling, I have the same experience, nothing special or nothing remarkable. You may think so. And then you cannot appreciate the observation of the main object, rising falling. It's just like reading a passage. When you read a passage past time, your understanding of that passage is not clear enough. You run through the passage, so the meaning of the passage is cannot clear enough to you. So the more often you read that passage, the deeper the understanding, your understanding will become. Although the passage is the same, your understanding can be deeper and deeper in all sense. So in the same way, although the same objects you are noting, that is the rising, falling, or the abdomen, but your inside knowledge is actually increasing. So your experience can be different from moment to moment. So every noting can help your concentration mature and stronger. So otherwise, it's just a waste of your precious time. Another example is when you see a line of the white ants. If you see it from distance, you cannot distinguish what type of the line is. You may mistake it for something else. But if you see that line of the white ants closer, then you can see something is moving. And if you see closer than before, you can see clearly the white ants individually going. Preceding individual and succeeding individual, they following and going after another. So the same object, but depending on how you see, how close as you see, your knowledge, your understanding can be different. Another example is you get into the stream or river. So the water currents in the river is all the time flowing downstream. So if you see without mindfulness, you may think the water is all the time the same. Actually, the preceding water currents and succeeding water currents, they are arising and flowing down all the time. So that's why there is saying, Western saying, you cannot get into a same river. You can never get into a same river twice, 2 times. Because the river is maybe the same, but the water current is all the time changing from moment to moment. So you cannot get into a river 2 times, the same river. So in the same way, although the phenomena, the object rising falling may be the same, seem to be the same to you, but there is a current of phenomena are totally different from moment to moment. The previous phenomena are succeeded by the following phenomena, succeeding phenomena. So every moment the phenomena are changing, although the objects seem to be experienced the same. So actually we are supposed to observe those currents or the phenomena from moment to moment and to arouse, to develop the moment-to-moment concentration. So within a few days you can make progress in the practice, or you can gain momentum in the practice if you make effort to arouse the kanika, moment-to-moment concentration. So this momentary concentration is very powerful and described in the Pali text, the kanika jeti kakata. That's the original Pali word used by the Buddha himself, kanika jeti kakata. So that means the one-pointedness of mind, or that is the concentration, by focusing on the objects from moment to moment. So the mind is concentrated or unified on a object from moment to moment, or which is newly arising from moment to moment. So that type of concentration is called kanika samadhi, the momentary concentration. For example, when your mind is established or concentrated or unified on a rising falling, for example, so your mind is established on that object or the rising or falling or any other objects which are newly arising occurrence to you. So that concentration is called a temporary or momentary concentration. As mentioned last time, the Anapana jhana concentration, which is developed by practicing the samatha meditation. It's a very strong and culminating concentration. So this kanika and a momentary concentration compared to that jhana, apana concentration is seem to be not strong enough. But it is said that kanika or the momentary concentration also can keep the mind stable. In the same way as the apana jhana's concentration does. So that's why there can be no difference in this sense between the momentary concentration and culminating concentration of the jhana. So however, we need to know, we need to learn how to keep our mind stable with the help of the moment-to-moment concentration. So it's said in Pali text, Patibake Anapi Buddha, if the mind is not overwhelmed by the opposite hindrances, so the mind will become stable on its objects from moment to moment. As mentioned last time, there are hindrances, the desire for sensual pleasure, aversion, or laziness, restlessness of mind, or wandering thoughts, and skeptical doubts. So when the mind is kept away from these mental hindrances, and then the concentration takes place. The temporary or the momentary concentration should be continuous and constant, like a stream or a river, like a water current or a river. So just like the water current, there should not be the gap or break between the preceding concentration and the succeeding concentration. So all we need to do is just to focus on the present objects which are newly arising from moment to moment without leaving any break, any gap. So just take the example the parquet floor. You know the parquet floor they touch each other, so there is no gap between individual parquet blocks. So there will be no room for the dust get in between. So in the same way, the preceding concentrations and the succeeding concentrations, in between there should not be break. They must go continuously, constantly, like a river, so that there will be no room for any kinds of opposite phenomena, negative phenomena. So this is an explanation according to the text. So please check yourself whether you are able to practice your concentration, whether your concentration is flowing smoothly without break. So just like the rope. The rope is twisted, combined of the very small, tiny individual threads. Each and individual thread is very weak and easily breakable. But when they are combined and twisted, it's very strong enough to resist the temptation. So if you see the temporary or momentary concentration, it seems to be very weak. But when the momentary concentration is developed from moment to moment, like the many tiny individual threads are twisted into a rope, it's become powerful enough to see, enough to compare with the Apamanya, enough to compare with the jhana, and it's powerful enough to see the phenomena. So you have enough time, you still have enough time to experience such a concentration. So please appreciate how powerful the temporary or the momentary concentration when they are going smoothly without break, they are powerful enough to see the truth. So with the appreciation of the powerful concentration, which is developed by observing the objects which are arising from moment to moment, so Sayadaw encourages you to observe every phenomena occurring to you, that is rising, falling, bending, stretching your hand, or sitting, standing, even the closing and opening your eye. So every activity, mental or physical, should be noted from moment to moment, without break, so that you can develop the concentration and temporary concentration. But Sayadaw sometimes saw some yogis, they not practicing carefully, especially some monks, they not practice properly. So Sayadaw wants you to make great use of your precious time while you are here. Sayadaw wants you to seize such a precious opportunity in life. So in the conclusion, Sayadaw make wish, may you be able to practice Vipassana meditation, noting every phenomena from moment to moment, arousing the powerful Khanika Samadhi, the powerful momentary concentration, and may you be able to succeed in practice. Now our time is up. That's all for today. Sadhu, sadhu.